this reality is more than what we think it is. It's we obviously know that it's physical and we're in need. And I'm not going to sit here and say that nothing's real and things of that nature, because hunger feels real, pain feels real, suffering feels real. But what I am going to say is that this reality is really the mind. And when you understand that, if the Most High gives you the power, then you can bend this reality, which is a mind that our consciousness is existing in. And that's why, for instance, when my eyes open up, I can be walking and I can see a man standing in the trees. It's freaky. And that's because my mind is aware that this reality it's conscious, it's alive. And when that happens, you can see the unnatural, the supernatural. With these cell phones, you have the ability to tap into that supernatural world, because these cell phones are like, when you watch your cartoons and you see the witches with the ball, the wizard ball. That's what these cell phones are. These cell phones are spiritual gateways. That's why you can put strongholds on you in this world, addictions on you. That's why people are addicted to porn and other things, and I'm guilty of it. I'm not going to sit here and act like I'm a saint. I'm not a saint. And but the UFOs are all around us, man. We're just we're just not smart enough to catch on. And those who are smart enough to catch on are so intelligent that it's crazy, because it just doesn't make sense. Whoever created the cell phone, if he was to go back to the Stone Age, he'll just be labeled crazy, and he should be labeled crazy because it just doesn't make sense. But it's all around us. It's not just phenomenons of orbs, metal orbs flying in the sky. It's more than that. You can't escape it. It's everywhere. We're just not intelligent enough to catch it. Yesterday, I caught it, and when I caught it, a few seconds away from looking at it, it vanished. It dissipated too fast. There's been times I've been walking home and I'll see clouds literally. The cloud is literally, like it's in heaven, of course. It's high up, but it's literally like we're on the same walking distance. And in a matter of moments, the cloud spins around me, and there's clouds in front of me now. I'm just like, come on, man. That's not a cloud. It looks like a cloud, and everyone's going to think it's a cloud. You can take a plane and it can fly through the cloud, but that's not a cloud, because their technology is so far advanced. So, I can put on a suit and become invisible, but if someone walks my way, they can walk past me, but I'm still there. I'm in an invisible suit. They can stand where I'm standing at. Because of the technology, they don't feel me there, but I feel I'm there. So, and it also goes to the Bible, when in the book of Esdras, where he says, the angel says to Esdras, the time's going to come where the highest will begin to visit the earth in which he made. And the highest is not really talking about the Father, because the Father is everywhere. The Father is all things. This reality and this consciousness is the Father. The highest represents the consciousness that was first created. And then that consciousness that the Father created came and created the earth, the world, the men and women. That consciousness is visiting the earth right now. And the head of that consciousness will be whom Daniel saw, which be the Ancient of Days. See, the Father is not the Ancient of Days, because the Ancient of Days means that you are the beginning of days. The Father is more than that. The Ancient of Days who Daniel saw was Christ. Christ is the Ancient of Days. The head of days in whom Enoch saw was Christ, because Christ is the beginning. And Christ created all principalities and all things. The Father is all energies. He is the Father. It is all things. The creating power. The Father of powers. And the reason to why I call it the Father of powers, because the power that created all powers wants man to rule over the creation. So that's why I say Father. And the Father carries the seed. But once again, the Most High is more than that. But for the sake of balance, I call him the Father. He's the father of powers because everything is power. Everything is energy. Everything is energy. Even when you die, you don't die. The body doesn't die. The body becomes the body doesn't die. It seems like it's dying, but it's energy. It's energy. It doesn't die. It goes in the earth and becomes more energy. Then your consciousness leaves and it goes elsewhere. Nothing really dies. Everything is energy. Energy is power. That's why the Most High is called the Father of Powers. So you translate it to Hebrew, it will be Abba Allah. Now, Yahweh, Yahuwah, which means I am or He is. He is constant verb that means to always live. In other words, it's the living power, the living God. The living Allah, the living God. That's why when the Holy Spirit communicated with me, it said, praise the living God. Because the reason to why the Most High is called the living God, because without His consciousness, its consciousness, and we say He for the sake of balance, nothing would exist. For instance, it can be Satan, and say Satan wants to destroy me, and I ask God, Father, living power, Father of power, save me. Satan's coming to destroy me. Satan stops. He looks at me and says, Son of the living power, I praise you. What do you want in the world? You can have anything you want and live anywhere you want and do anything you want. It doesn't make sense. Why would Satan do that? Because nothing is living without the consciousness of the living power. The living power gives everyone their thoughts and their consciousness. The living power has created the sequences of reality. That's why people have the ability to know the future. Because the future is already written, but the living power, I'm going to say He for the sake of balance, He can rewrite things without the principal powers knowing. For instance, it was a while back, and it was a man on a train, and I was on my way home, and he seen me, and when he seen me, he started to tremble. He said, you shouldn't be alive. He started saying, you shouldn't be alive, you shouldn't be alive, you shouldn't be alive, you shouldn't be alive. And he went on the next car. And that same day, I felt this eerie feeling coming over me, and I prayed to the Father on the train in my mind. And He said, the Spirit said, thou hazardous child, if you live, then you will know I love you. So on my way home, that's when I got on the train, and the man seen me, and he started to tremble, said, you shouldn't be alive, you shouldn't be alive. Now that man is saying that, I don't know what the hell is going on, but he's inclined with the earth, so he knows the future. And in the future, I was supposed to die, but the living power, once again, wrote the sequences of this play, what Shakespeare says, what Shakespeare's right. The living power wrote the sequence of the play, so the living power can... Oh, man. The living power can pause it without the angels knowing, without the king, which is Hamashiach Yahushua, Jesus Christ, knowing, and rewrite it. So the man that said you're not supposed to be alive wasn't wrong, but the living power paused the play and rewritten so that I would live. Oh, man, this is why. Son of the most fortunate one, man. But now, back to the UFOs. The highest, not the Father, the highest is the consciousness, okay, that created this reality that came from the Father. They're visiting the earth. You don't have to believe me, guys. And if you don't, I respect you. I saw in heaven a man sitting on a throne. It wasn't the Most High, because this man had a face. The Most High, I seen the Most High sitting on the throne. He doesn't have a face. No one can see the Most High's face. He doesn't have a face. And the man was surrounded by powerful principalities. And principalities was talking in his right ear and his left ear. And he sat on the throne. And the throne was made of clouds and smoke. And as the throne went down, there was a face of a man whom had the tongue of a serpent. So I'm looking at this like, what the heck? This looks sinister. But I look at the man sitting on the throne, and someone was telling me this is a righteous man. Then why is there a man with the face of a serpent? Because He used wisdom to create the foundation because the serpent is wisdom. For henceforth, Christ said to his disciples, be wise as serpents and harmless as doves. See, the serpent is not evil. The serpent is wisdom. And with wisdom and with craftiness, the earth was formed. The foundations of the heavens were created with craftiness. That's why the throne, at the bottom of the throne, was the face of a serpent like man.
Yeah.
And
I bought a spatula for the cat litter. I cleaned it out and emptied it. So now when they go, it comes up and I'll dispose of the clump. So we don't like waste all like the one, like say the pea. It sounds crazy, but
so is a serpent like man, because the serpent like man, the serpent is wisdom, shrewdness, craftiness. Now, along with the spiritual prince Satan, they've made the serpent bad because Satan has taken everything and twisted it. But that's wisdom, you know. So I'm sorry, man, just a little lost of thoughts. So just give me a second. Holy Spirit just threw a stumbling block in there. Maybe he doesn't want. Maybe he doesn't want me talking on this topic because a lot of people just won't understand. Save myself the grief, because that's what will happen is that when people don't understand, they fear it and they attack it. You know, they fear it and they attack it. So the Holy Spirit probably had that happen, saying, "Nah, you gotta save himself the grief." Because sometimes certain energies you just can't tap into because the world just won't understand. Because with the Most High, you're outside of the world, more powerful than the world. And when you trust in the Most High, you can't be overcome because the Most High is all things. Yet again, all things. You know, but once again, the UFOs they're all here, man. And you can't even say good or evil because when you read your Bible, the angels are going to be the ones responsible for bringing much death and chaos. The angels are going to be the angels are the ones that are going to destroy the world. You know, Satan's not going to destroy the world. That wouldn't be beneficial to Satan because this is his world right now. You know, he's not going to be able to destroy the world. And Satan is nothing but the Christ's shadow. So Christ took his shadow and cast him into the earth to do everything opposite of him. You know, when you really understand it, it gives you a sense of calm and peace. But being that we're made of flesh, we're going to mess up because that's the whole point. We're supposed to have fear at times. We're supposed to be nervous at times. And then, you know, we see the salvation of a higher power and we give praise. But Satan and the powers of this world is nothing more than the shadow of the powers that created reality. That's all it is. So the powers created this reality and they turned around and took their shadow and let their shadow rule over it, which is opposite of everything in which they do, which is darkness. And the purpose of the shadow ruling, which would be the powers of this world and Satan, is to enlighten the powers of righteousness, which are the creating gods, because a lot of the gods have been put in human bodies and are subject to the powers of this world. So that's for humility. You know, that's for humility. So for instance, if you've dealt with targeting and had to deal with, you know, harassment, you don't do that to someone else because you know how bad it feels. If you deal with mental illness, you know, you won't condemn someone else because you know how painful it feels. So that being that the gods that created this reality were put into this earth and suffered in the earth and depended on outside sources, when the gods return to their natural state of power, which is coming soon, they're going to be humble and kind. So, for instance, when I go back to my heavenly estate, I'm going to remember this. I'm going to remember the people that did me wrong. I'm going to remember the people that abused me when I was little. And I'm going to remember the people that did right to me. You know, and I'm going to have the power, you know, because what you have to understand is that, you know, you don't die. You don't die. And when you leave this flesh, you're still going to be consciously aware of everything. You're going to be constantly aware of your surroundings and your environment. You're going to have power to do whatever you want to do. For instance, Big L was killed. Big L was a rapper. And the guy that killed him was killed on the same block that he was killed. So Big L, Big L the rapper, his spirit got revenge. You see what I'm saying? So, no one really dies. Energy transfers, Since my grandmother passed away, and I've had a few dreams with her. So that tells me that she's once she's here, but on the other side, and she's here, and she's been aiding me, and she's been helping me, and she's been comforting me, to the point to where I had a dream to where I was fighting dark forces, and she was helping me. And I said to her, "Nah, you go rest, go be with your family, go to your ancestors and rest. This is my fight." And after I said that, she left, and I woke up. Now that dream is telling me what's going on in the spiritual realm, because the dream world is linked to the spiritual realm. You see, and even though people can. They can say, well, if you do this, you can make a person dream about that. It's all spiritual. It's all linked. Because if there's two people and one person's spiritual, one person's not, and the person that's not spiritual says, well, I can make that person dream about this if I just put it in his face often or her face often, that's still spiritual, because where did the thought come from? Or if someone says, I'm going to pretend like I'm Michael the Archangel, and go to this person dressed up in a disguise and act like I'm an angel, but that person that's acting like he's an angel doesn't believe. That person has to understand that where did the thought come from? You actually were possessed by Michael the Archangel to do that. Okay? If someone says, I don't like this person, I'm going to harass him, where did the energy come from? Everything's spiritual, man. Everything is spiritual. And we can't escape it. Everything is spiritual, man. From technology to from beginning to now. It doesn't make sense. How come as human beings we should still be living in huts, but we have devices to where I can talk to someone that's across the world. We've created devices to where we can fly across the world. That's supernatural. Cars, supernatural. What other animal species has risen up and done this? The world we live in today, buildings, cell phones, airplanes, guns, nuclear bombs, that's spiritual power. It's supernatural. We don't really need any of these things. But the spirit enlightened the mind, and man created all of these things. That's why some people don't believe in God, because they say, oh, well, I was talking to the clouds, but ha 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 ha. We got jets that fly over clouds. We got satellites that stay up in space when the clouds go away. And what people need to understand is that the Most High is the one who gave man the power to create the satellites. So that's why the Most High said, to the evildoers that, blaspheme the Most High, because there's world rulers that have great power on the earth that believe in God. That's why the evildoers that blaspheme God, the Most High says to them, the pride of thine heart deceive you, because with the great power becomes the deception. The Most High is the one who gives man the inspiration to create and to become unnatural. But for man to turn around and then say, I did these things, is horror. Because the Most High, once again, as human beings, we don't need a lot of these things that we have. But why do we have them? Because the Most High gave man inspiration to create him to fulfill his will, fulfill his purpose. People say, well, we have satellites that stay over the clouds, and the Most High can just snap his fingers. Them satellites fall out of the sky into the sea. And why did I say it like that? Because what if the Most High makes that happen? I don't want no one to get hurt. Our words have power. So the Most High can snap his fingers and say, them satellites are going to fall out into the sky, into the sea, and not hurt nobody. And then what? How can now what will we say? Now will we say that we have power over the Most High? The satellites fall out the sky and into the sea and don't hurt anybody? Because I don't want to say this and satellites fall out and hit people. I don't even want to get hurt. Okay. So the Most High is in charge of all things, and once again, the Most High is the living power. Without Him, there is no life. I say Him for the sake of balance. Without the living power, there is no life. There is no life without the living power. There is no principalities. There is no wickedness. There is no righteousness. The Most High is all things. The living power is all things. Once again, say Satan wants to destroy me. He's a prince. He's a principality. He's a power. He's a source of energy. He has beings under him that do his bidding. He sits on a throne. Now say he wants to destroy me. So he himself comes to destroy me with a gusty wind. But he stops. And he looks at me and praises me and says that I'm the son of the living power. And I can have whatever I want. That doesn't make logical sense. Why? Because the Most High is in charge of all things. Even the Prince Satan, his flow of energy, his level of understanding, his consciousness, the Most High is the one who wires him. The Most High is the one who says, you're going to feel like this today, Prince. You're going to feel like that. I'm not talking about flesh. I'm talking about spirit. Beings that govern realities. You're going to feel like this. You're going to feel like that. You're going to do this. You're going to do that. Satan's intelligent. He's aware of the Most High. Some principalities are not aware of the Most High. Like some humans don't understand who the Most High is. So there's some principalities that are very powerful. They don't understand who the Most High is. It was I forgot what it was. It was a Hindu folklore, and everything has truth to it. Everything has truth. Everything has truth. And it says that two of the gods were in the heavens, and they said, let's go higher. Let's go higher. And they went higher and they went higher until they found Shiva. And when they found Shiva, they were in awe of his power and they had no choice but to submit. And I've seen the god Shiva with my fleshly eyes. I've seen it with my fleshly eyes. It's a terrible sight. Terrible sight. Fearful sight. I seen him. He had the serpent sticking out of his back. He had his garment. He had a giant afro, giant beard. And his arms were massive, muscular, and he looked extremely powerful. I seen it with my own fleshly eyes, and he was looking down at me from the clouds. So I've seen Shiva. That's the third eye. I seen it in heaven. And these two beings went higher and found Shiva, and they had no choice but to submit. So if they understood that there's a hierarchy of powers, they wouldn't have went. But they didn't know that. And these are gods that went higher and found a stronger god. Now when the gods want to go higher and higher and higher, that's when they're going to meet the angels that guard the throne. Now someone may say, well, Al, why would the Most High need angels to guard his throne if he's all powerful, he's all things? Because this is theater. This is his pleasure. It wants to fit in. I say he for balance. He wants to fit in. He wants to belong. He wants to exist. He wants to be like his creation, because he can't be like his creation because it's impossible. He's all things. It's kind of sad. It's kind of lonely. That's why the Most High loves the loner. The lonely soul, he loves them because that's him. He cannot fit into reality. He's too much. That's why King Solomon said the heavens of the heavens cannot contain thee. So basically Solomon said nothing can contain this power. So the reason to why you see a man a masculine being, because the Most High has no face, sitting on the throne with guards around it, because that's just the Most High trying to fit in, man. It's real sad. It makes me real sad. So these gods are not aware of that because the Most High don't want them aware, because this is his pleasure's sake. If everyone knows the Most High, prophecy won't be fulfilled. His pleasure won't go out. The show won't go on. If everyone knows who the Most High is, the show will not go on. So these gods didn't know what was going on, so they went on higher in the heavens and found, oh shit, we can't go there. They found Shiva. And now if they're stronger than Shiva, they go higher, which I doubt that there's anyone stronger than Shiva. They'll go higher, and then they'll find the angels that are before the throne of the Most High. And those angels would just say, back down you go. Back down you go. Now, this Hindu folklore is beautiful because it shows that not even the gods are aware of their maker. That's how beautiful it is. Okay, that not even the gods are aware of their maker. So that's why you can be dealing with forces and principalities that are attacking you, and you're like, what's wrong with them? But they don't understand. For instance, in Dragon Ball Z, I love Dragon Ball Z. Uh, Everyone knows who Lord Beerus is. Lord Beerus is the god of destruction. So he went to this planet to test out the food, and one of the strongest warriors went to attack him, and then Beerus destroyed him with ease. And then Beerus says along the lines, how fools lack knowledge. Now, why did Beerus say that? Because if he understood, he wouldn't attack Lord Beerus. For instance, it was in the comic. Vegeta Piccolo was getting ready to fight Beerus, and Vegeta, who's stronger than Piccolo, Vegeta says it's pointless. Don't attack him. This is the god of destruction. Now, Vegeta has wisdom. That's wisdom and understanding. The other being, who probably wasn't even as strong as Vegeta, attacked Lord Beerus because he didn't have the understanding to understand that this is the god of destruction. You cannot stop him. Now, in the Hindu folklore, which has truth, when they went on higher, they had no choice but to submit to Shiva. They had no choice but to submit because he was too powerful, too formidable. Because that's the energy that destroys, and after death and destruction is new life. They had no choice but to submit. But if everyone understood the Most High and knew the Most High, prophecy wouldn't be fulfilled. Okay? So that's why a lot of people blaspheme the Most High and do all of these crazy things, because they have to. Because if not, the show won't go on. People have to come against the Most High. The Most High doesn't have any enemies. He doesn't have any enemies. He doesn't have any ops. And it says, the Most High will no longer remember the sins of Judah and of Israel. Oh, wow. Why not? Because the Most High is the one who made them sin. The Most High is the one who created sin. The Most High is the one who created evil, perverseness, lust. The Most High is going to forgive them because the Most High is like, man, okay, it's enough. I've done enough to them. They understand that I'm in control. They understand that I have the power. So now I'm not going to remember their sins no more. Who I made them sin. And if there's any, Christian goes, I'm not trying to offend you, but you got to it's time to think with spiritual logic. If you say your God does no evil, then you don't serve the Most High, man. It's time to think logically. But why would he do evil? Because it's balance, man. I hate evil. I hate perverseness. But it's balance. The Most High called me his son and called me to be a prince, and I suffer evil. I suffer perverseness. But I'm a prince. I'm a son of the living power. So even I have to go through it. The king, the ancient of days that created this reality, had to get put on the cross. So we're not saying this in a position of not suffering. We're suffering. I'm suffering right now. I'm plagued. Right now I'm burdened. As I'm speaking, I'm in pain right now. I'm in pain every day. Look up schizophrenia. People are constantly suffering who have schizophrenia. If you're dealing with someone that has schizophrenia and you hate them, you don't have to attack them. You don't have to attack them. They're gonna suffer. They're gonna suffer every day. You don't have to attack them. You've already won. If you have an enemy that's schizophrenic, you've already won. There's no need to attack them. They suffer every day. I suffer every day. So I'm not speaking in the position of I'm untouched. I'm touched. I get touched. But it's balance. And that's why it happens, man. So the Most High is in total control. That's why when the angels appear to me, their continence is not, their continence is this what needs to be done. They're not angry, they're not sad, they're not happy. They just have a flat continence of this what has to happen. For instance, when the captain of the heaven's army came to Joshua, Joshua says to him, Are you for me or my enemies? So Joshua, he was turned up. He was like, man, you better say the right thing or you lose your life. And then the man had a sword drawn. He said, "Nay, neither. I'm not for you or your enemies, but I'm here for the Lord." So the angels are here to do the will of the Father. The angels don't necessarily care. They're here to do His will. That's why the angel said to Joshua, I'm not your friend, I'm not your enemy, I'm here to do the Father's will." When the Father appeared to me and I seen the angels that guard His throne, I was troubled because this is my first time seeing heaven, the high heavens. The high heavens drop down to this heaven. And that's why David said the Most High humbles Himself to look down. And when I looked at the angels that guard the throne, I was amazed because they had no emotion. I'm looking at these angels, I'm like, they can kill me without any compassion. But who had the compassion was the Father, because when He noticed me, well, of course, He's the one who he told me to look at Him. You know, the Father He loves His theater. The power loves His theater. He loves His theater. That's why Hollywood's so powerful. It's a represents is symbolism of the Father. The Father loves His theater. So when the Father commanded me to look at Him, even though I thought I was doing it on my own, He looked down at me. And when He realized that I was looking at Him, this is all His action. This is His theater. This is incredible. I've never seen or read the Father doing this for anyone. He leaned down, and not just with His right hand or not just with His left hand. He leaned down. He moved the angels that guard the throne out of the way and spread His arms wide open. Hence, one of my favorite songs to this day is Creed, Arms Wide Open. He spread His arms wide open. And when He did that, He communicated with me telepathically and called me to be His prince. So then I run downstairs because I'm terrified. And as I'm going into the house, I look on the walls. I see faces of beautiful men with crowns on their head. Beautiful men with crowns on their head. And I'll look into the eyes of one of the men. I'll see more beautiful men with crowns on their head. I'm terrified. I'm bugging out. So I go into the room and I get down. I face the east and I start praying to Allah, because Allah is the power, which is God. And as I begin to pray, a beautiful chanting from a flute, it began to chant, and the flute would sing, would make music, and the chant would say, "Come to me, my son, come to me, my son." And I did research. The flute sound came because I was in a panic attack. The flute sound came to calm me down. So it was science even behind the music. So the Most High says, "Oh, he's scared. He's having a panic attack. Chant to him, 'Come to me, my son,' and play the flute, because the flute will calm down his anxiety." It's extreme intelligence. And I prayed to the Father, and He's telling, "Come to me, my son." I said, "I can't take it. Please stop this." And it stopped. I looked at the walls. I didn't see the faces no more. I didn't hear the flute no more. And that's just the beauty of the Father. I didn't know that the flute had the effect to calm down anxiety and panic attacking. Sound is very powerful. Sound, if you listen to sound, it can certain vibrations calm you down. I've experienced it. So now I understand that the flute was to calm down my anxiety attack. So the Most High says He's overwhelmed. Play the flute and tell Him to come to me. It's amazing. But okay, I've been on here for long enough, and that's it.